this is Lindy from Love Create Celebrate. Welcome back to our channel where we share all of our DIY and home renovation videos. If you have not subscribed to our channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future feature walls or DIYs or renovations. If you watched last week's video, then you already know that we created an amazing study space for my nephew. He's in university, can't go back to university, so he's studying from home, and we made this awesome room, including this feature wall. And we asked you guys if you wanted to learn how to make that wall. A bunch of you guys said yes, so that is what we're sharing today. This wall only took us a day to make, not including the extra coat of paint that we had to do at the end. But you guys can definitely tackle it for any room in your home. This video was sponsored by DAP Canada, who gifted us all of the DAP products we used to make the wall. So thank you to them, and let's get started. In case you missed our full renovation tutorial, I will link it up top here, but this is the wall that we started with. We transformed this entire room, but today I'm going to focus on that wall. We started by putting a coat of primer up on the wall. We wanted to get at least one good coat up before we put our paint samples up so we could get a better idea of how they would look in the space. My nephew chose this nice bright green color for the wall, and as soon as we had the color picked, we put the first coat up. Once the first coat had dried, we were able to actually start working on the feature wall. For this feature wall, we used a sheet of 4x8 1/2-inch MDF. We've done other feature walls with moldings before. I'll link one up top here for you, but this time we wanted to do something a little bit different by cutting down MDF strips. We used the table saw to cut all of our strips at 2 1/4 inches wide. Once you know the width of the MDF pieces and the spacers you're using, you can guess how many strips you're going to need. We needed about 30 for our wall, but we did cut a few extra just in case we would need them after. Just like we did with the walls inside, once we had all of the strips cut, we primed and then painted them. We did this on the tops and on the sides of all of our slats. We didn't do it on the bottom because we knew that that side would never be seen, as it was going to sit flush against the wall. One other thing we did before we painted was cut one side of our MDF strips at a 45-degree angle. The reason we did this is because the room already had crown molding up, and we thought the 45-degree angle would look a lot nicer against the crown than having it end abruptly. Now we were ready to put our MDF strips up on the wall, and I'll go through each step one at a time to show you exactly how we did that. The first thing we did was measure how long our molding piece needed to be. If we were doing a partial piece, we just measured to the middle of the wall, but if we were doing the full length, we measured from the crown molding down to the baseboard. Then we transferred that measurement onto the MDF strip and cut it on the miter saw. Then we tested to make sure it would fit properly, and then put multi-purpose construction adhesive on the back. If this is your first piece, you want to make sure to use a level as well to make sure everything is perfectly straight before you keep going. Next, we put up our spacer and then put our MDF strip with construction adhesive up on the wall against the spacer. Then we used our portable nail gun to nail that piece in place. We used an old piece of molding as our spacer that was 11/16 thick, but you could also use 3/4 or whatever you think looks good on the wall. When it came to doing the fun angled pieces, we tried a few different angles and ultimately landed on doing 31.6 degrees. Our miter saw actually had this measurement on the saw because it is a typical measurement used for crown molding, but if you don't have that measurement, you can just do something close and it will have a really similar effect on the wall. And then we nailed those angled pieces up on the wall with construction adhesive and a nail gun in the same way that we did the full pieces. As we went across the wall, we basically just stood back after every slat and decided what we wanted the next piece to look like. In some cases, we had the angle going downwards, some cases to the left, some cases to the right. Sometimes we put a board right in the center of the wall without anything above or below it. And sometimes, like the one we're demonstrating here, we actually left the entire slat blank. So if you choose to do that, all you have to do is put a spacer in, put a spare piece of molding in, and then a second spacer, and that will make sure that your pattern is consistent and you're leaving the right amount of space between your two slats that are on the wall. You can experiment with your design and decide where you want your angles to be, or you can take a screenshot of our wall and do them in the exact same locations. You have a lot of creative freedom here. I would just recommend making sure that you space out your angles so they're not too close together. We did this entire MDF wall in one day, and if you're following our pattern, it should take you even less time because we spent a lot of time stepping back and deciding where we wanted our next angle to sit or our next MDF slat to go. Once all of your MDF strips are on the wall, you can now putty all those nail holes you made. We used Alex Plus spackling to do this. We just put a little bit on our putty knife and filled all the tiny nail holes, and then when the putty was dry, sanded it down quickly. We also used the Alex Flex molding and trim sealant on the bottom of all of our MDF strips. This just gave the wall a little bit more flexibility in case there was any movement in the house or in the wall in different seasons. After that, we added our second and final coat of paint and the wall was finished. I'll show you the entire finished space here, but first I wanted to share a couple of quick tips to help your wall go a little bit smoother. The first tip is about cutting on the miter saw. Often we'll cut our boards and they'll just be a tiny bit too long for the wall. If that happens to you, the easiest thing to do is cut just a saw blade off the end of the MDF, and that little millimeter or so can make a huge difference on the wall. To do this, we just put the saw blade down, push the MDF right up against the saw blade, hold it tight in place, then raise the saw blade and bring it back down. Another quick tip is for those of us working in older homes. Sometimes we come across different little bumps in the wall or the crown molding that we have to work around. And we found the easiest way to work around that with MDF was just to take a chisel right to the MDF, chisel out the little piece that's in the way, and put it up on the wall. A quick and easy way to fix that. And my final tip is going around outlets and switches. If you're going around an outlet like this, you should use a box extender that will help bring your outlet out to the level of the moldings. And you can also put molding around the entire outlet so that the outlet plate sits flush on top. And here's how the accent wall looked when it was done. I love the green color my nephew picked, but honestly I think this wall would look amazing in navy or gray or black, so there's tons of different possibilities. The video of the full makeover is linked in the description box. Don't forget to check that out so you can see the full transformation and our nephew's reaction to his new space and feature wall. Thank you so much for watching. That was such a fun video to make. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and let us know in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts on the feature wall if you loved it, and I would also love to hear if you want us to tackle another feature wall. We obviously love making them. There's a feature wall playlist here, and if you'd like to see us try something new, definitely let us know. As always, don't forget to hit that bell so you don't miss out on future DIY and home renovation videos.